Chasin the Racin, powered by Colchester Kawasaki. Part of the Global Moto Group, we supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasin the Racin. And we have Josh the Corner. How are we doing, son, co-hosting this episode?
I'm very well, very good. It's been a while.
That was a popper. That was just an instant crack killer. That, like, yeah, I'm well. I'm dead excited about this. This is just.
I'm absolutely bollocks. It's been a long day. It's
haven't
hot.
Even been riding. It's been hot.
I know.
You could tell he's from Shields, but
making all that tea and coffee just wears you out, you know.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I tell you what, our guest is looking just really, really concerned for you, and by that I mean it's just like he's just looking across at you, just going, "Man up, will you? For God's sake, man up." I know. And ladies and gentlemen, our guest tonight is yet again James Hillier. This is your second time on the pod, isn't it?
Round 2, yeah.
Round 2, yeah. Yet again, he's as enthusiastic as you. But
last time we were on telephone screen, weren't we, or Skype or something? We weren't even visual. It was just sound, wasn't it? We were just on loudspeaker.
And that was before the dreaded days of COVID. And I tell you what, we got to the point where I got Grace, God love her. She's out having a Domino's, and she'll be editing this later on. Poison a food coma, God love her. But let me go. It was episode 35, the 4th of January. Go on, Josh. Guess what year?
19.
Oh, close. It was 2020. And I tell you what, you have been a very, very busy boy since then. A very, very busy boy.
I've done a bit, yeah.
This is going to be actually probably one of the most difficult interviews ever, because you're that humble. You're like, yeah. And we're talking about, for people that don't know James Hillier, please go watch back on the previous episodes, because he's a TT winner, a Dakar racer, my God, father, business owner, dad, what else? The list is endless almost.
Yeah, I'm pretty a bit jack of all trades, I'd say, and at home as well. You know, we're renovating a house at home and a plastering, and I try not to do any painting, but sparking, and I'm a sparky by trade actually, but
I totally forgot that.
So I mean, I try to avoid it now if I can, but it's a plan, not even a plan B. It's like a plan D, E or F or something to go back to somewhere in the loft space. I've got my certificate, so
love it.
Yeah, if needs must, yeah.
That's what I say. So again, I'll tell you what, for people that may not jump back on this side of things, I'll tell you what, Josh, do us a favour. We're going to still record because we're actually on a bit of a time watch. Can you shut that latch on the outside? People can see this rattling. What a man. Now, when he steps outside, we'll slag him off. But he's a Yamaha man himself. Don't worry about it.
I like, most practical things I like to try and to man to, so.
Fantastic.
I mean, we had a problem and we solved it, didn't we?
You're on it. You see, that's how he gets good lap times, you see. It's like that. There's the problem, get on with it. I'll tell you what, can we briefly actually go back a little bit, to how it started? Obviously that first episode we did on Skype was a lot more detailed. When did you become an electrician? Were you racing at the time and everything?
Yeah, so, when I was, so, I literally worked from, I don't think you can even work now when you're 14, but when I turned, first weekend I turned 14, I used to work in a watercress factory, and I worked pretty much every day since. I don't physically work too much now, but other than motorcycling, but I just blagged and begged and kind of, I don't know really how I got through. I just worked. I've had
hustled.
I like that.
Yeah, like watercress factory, picking mushrooms at one point, car garages, labouring on building sites. There weren't many trades or jobs I didn't have or do to kind of fund racing. So
were you just getting sick of those jobs? Were you just getting bored, or was it just could you grab what you could?
I think
get
I just took what I could get, and then. Well, that also motivated me, because I was going through the rubbish to kind of get the reward. I had to go through those steps because we never had never come from money really. We had to earn it. Mum and dad worked and initially borrowed money to help me get going a little bit in the first few seasons. Then it just escalated. But I've always worked, and the sparky trade sort of fell into place through motorcycling. Actually, someone I knew of a job, and then got an apprenticeship and did that alongside when I was racing British Super Sport and a bit of stock 1000 back then. And
did you just go straight into the British element, or schoolboy motocross?
I did trials,
right,
which is quite opposite to what we do now.
It's all front and back here.
So when would you have? Because you've been in the British paddock for as long as I can remember. When would you when would you have started in like Stock 600 or Super Sport?
I did R6 Cup in 03.
Right, okay.
That's right. Yeah.
On Virgin Mobile, which was amazing, incredible series. You know, I mean, it was obviously relevant back then, the cost, but you know, that was an amazing one mate class. The bikes turned up at the track. There was no tinkering or taking the bikes away and messing around. It was fair game racing, set tyres, road tyres in, the wet or dry, no tyre warmers, like. And,
no tyre warmers?
No, that was...
Do you reckon...
Jesus.
Do you reckon that should come back a bit more?
Absolutely. And I think it make it more affordable for, you know, you need a big commercial partner and a manufacturer to back it, obviously. But Rob McElnay did an amazing... And you look at the names that come from that series.
Yeah.
It was an amazing way for... Even, like, we didn't really know what we were doing, but we stepped in. They put good mechanics in places to learn from and help guide you, I suppose, in... And I learned a lot in that season, you know, and also, I mean, crash damage was covered. So, you know, when you're racing on a shoestring,
how was it all in that price?
The first year was £15,000 plus VAT, and that was you didn't get a bike at the end, but that was every round of British Superbike, crash damage tyres.
Holy shit, that's unbelievable, that, isn't it?
Put that in today's money, lads.
I don't know how
no,
much.
No, not meaning that. I mean, like the way the sport's gone, you know, and people are more paying for, like, you know, the way it has turned into.
Yeah. Well, look at it.
Go on, as a guess between us all, how much to do that now? If someone put that offer on the table, and the crash damage, fuel, everything like that.
Upwards of 60 grand, I would say.
Gotta be in it.
I was going to say 45-ish, 50, but it's, you know, but at 600 now is there, you know, a spec 600 is probably close to 20 grand, isn't it, to get suspension and all that on it. So then, you know, so probably is, north of 50 for do the season with a bit of crash damage.
I tell you what, and that
depends who's riding it.
But that's the other thing. Like, I tell you what, even going back to that, how many crashes were there? There must have been, like, if someone said you can go crash your brains out, so.
Yeah.
Well, two things, when you were crashing, how many people were crashes?
When you're racing on a shoestring, the last thing you want to do is crash. It's a real fine edge to, like, pushing, but you can't afford to crash, but you want to win. You know, it's real hard. So I remember I had a big crash first year at Snetterton, Bommel, and I almost just kicked the bike away. I was just like, because I was and it went, then it sat down, all the shock linkages broke, and I was like, in a ruthless way, I was like, not my problem. Like, the next round I'll have a brand new bike or a fixed bike, and it I think in a way you kind of, you know, like obviously at the other end of the scale, but in GP and that, the last thing they think about is the bike being broken, don't it, when they crash, when they're trying to find the limit. And
did that massive, like, that mindset that early on? So, like, were you doing club racing before the R6 club? Like, were you running your own bikes before that, or was it straight in at the deep end?
We did a year on Aprilia Challenge, the RS125 Challenge. So I borrowed a bike. The first time I ever rode on circuit was big bike, was at Snetterton. I borrowed a RS125 off a friend who moved up to Stock 600, and I did I think I had a 4th and a 6th or something at Snetterton. He'd done it for a few years, and I just was, but that was that holding, you know, a bit like a cage dog, because we didn't have the money to go and do it. So when I actually got the opportunity to go, I was like so determined to make
impress
it.
And
well, not to, like, I was just desperate to get on a bike and try and win and do something, you know, or make something of it, you know. So but it definitely was more achievable back then, I think, to kind of, you know, with sponsors, and it's so hard now with
it's just like even going back, take that money side of it out, you know, for someone, that's not the way I see the politics of racing going and everything like that. That won't happen again, that R6 element, you know, the staff, the bikes, that, like, where I'm in part of the F900, but like you just said, you can still take the bike home.
Well, Red Bull Rookies is the only thing, really.
Yeah.
Right.
But
they
it's free.
Take the bikes home?
No, sorry. It's the only thing that's similar. It's free. It doesn't cost you to be in Red Bull other than you travel.
Right.
It's the only. Yeah.
There needs to be more like that. Absolutely needs. You know, sometimes I think trying a way of doing it, but it's a massive outlay, isn't it? And a lot of work to bring it together.
Look at the new Super Team class. That's going to be the ZX 400
thing. Yeah.
Well, it's great. I think it's a brilliant idea. Great that it's at BSB as well. But they're 12 grand to buy. Like, which is probably okay in today's money, but
is that race ready? 12 grand.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like,
that's like the F900's, like, it's 12 grand for the full race package.
But like Aprilia Super Team bikes were like 3. Do you know what I mean?
You see, that's the biggest problem, though. We're always constantly fighting money, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Money's always going to go up, but that infrastructure element, that's the thing that I'm finding dead interesting.
And I think the level, like for the maybe the untrained rider, or the less people coming from not a motorcycle background, with families that maybe, because there's so many kids out there that are hungry and naturally talented that probably don't even realise, but they haven't got the infrastructure to take them, and there seems to be the balance is way out. There's a lot of kids with backing and hungry dads, and it sounds a bit harsh saying this, but there's a lot of dads trying to live their dream through their kids. And my eldest son did the mini bike thing, which was a good we had a good time. But
you were out racing as well. Like, you did a bit of racing. It was
but
good.
I saw some because I was on the other side of the fence, really, and I just thought, wow, this is, I suppose it's been like it for ages. I just really opened my eyes to how some of the dads want it so much more than the kids, and it's, again, I don't want to break them, but it's some of them are delusional on the whole. They think they're going to do a couple of wildcards here in BTC and then get signed up and taken on some program to MotoGP, and it's just like,
It doesn't happen.
Nah, it's so much money to and that's
So if your eldest, so how many kids you got?
3.
You got 3. Is it? You got a little girl, boy.
She's in the middle. Yeah, 2 boys, 4-year-old and a 13-year-old now, boys, and an 8-year-old girl in the middle. She's hard work. The boys are good, but my youngest boy, he's they're all coming up tomorrow actually. But my youngest, you'll see him about tomorrow. He's got I got him some pit vipers off of AliExpress. Yeah, and he wears them. He hadn't took them off, like in the house in the dark. He's wearing them, but he'll be buzzing around tomorrow in his electric. But he's pretty wide. Like
yeah,
I don't know. I'm gonna.
It's interesting because you've just said, for the mini bike element, you've sat on the other side of the fence and you've seen what you don't want to become, if you know what I mean. But if all 3 of your kids came up to you tomorrow and said, "Daddy, I want to come road race," not like tarmac race. Road race is a bit different when you're talking about
yeah, that's a straight no. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it. Well, I couldn't stop them, but I would try and persuade them out. I think
be
just
keen for it, yeah.
How difficult? Let's talk about that actually, because that's
me being more selfish probably than maybe I already am. But
I think the word that is a very difficult thing. You're a TT winner, you love it, you can see it, and you're a very calm, humble lad. But when you're at the TT, it's just you live and breathe that place. People don't. A lot of people probably think, "Oh, he just goes and does it."
Yeah,
you put the times in. You're seriously fast, but speaking to you, you're not jumping on the spot. But when you're there, you're like, I'm here to win.
Yeah, well, try. Yeah, it's a bit harder nowadays.
It is the TT. Like, does the TT? Is that your season? Like everything else is prepared around doing the TT. Like,
yeah, that's top of my list. At the end of every season, that's my top of my list. Is
sort that first.
TT. Yeah, that's like.
So then, 3 of your kids come up. Let's wind that back. Let's get back to that TT scenario. But all 3 of your kids go, "I want to come to BSB." How the financial, we're just talking about briefly that financial element.
I'd probably rather say to them, there's not that I've got it, I'd say there's a chunk of money, you go and see the world. I'd say just
go traveling,
travel and see and learn and meet people, and you're like, you meet great people in bike racing, don't you? You meet some arseholes, but you also meet some great interesting people. And
so he looked at me, said arseholes and great people like you. see how quickly his eye contact went with arseholes, and there you go.
I paid him to do that.
But so I don't know, it's hard. I just think but it depends if they're, I think I know if they're deeply passionate into it. Like my eldest, it's mad into mountain bikes, and he's watching all the World Championship at the moment, and I just, whatever they're into and have that passion for, I'll provide them as best I can and let them chase their dreams. I suppose it's the best you can do in it, but it's hard I would struggle to saying, I don't know if I'd want to put their mum through it. It's been she's put up with me doing it. So
that's let's go into that main subject of that is such a difficult thing, because you're standing there going, I love it. You're on the podcast, you've done this, and you're like, that's what I drive. I'm your dad, but that's my drive. And then they're turning up, and yet again, all 3 of them, I want to do TT, and it's you're going.
Not
that must be no, but we're not talking about just picking on James Hillier. I mean, parent Matt, my dad was go get a job, go do it yourself, and it was right, but he knows that's a difficult thing.
I actually really like the approach. I only met Dad's.
Dad.
I can't speak today. I've only met
You
Dom's
are
dad
melon, aren't you?
properly this year at the TT, and I thought his approach to how he went racing with you was fantastic. Like, I grew up in that mini bike scene that you're referring to, and I just think now it's even worse. The pressure on kids is like insane for them to go racing. You almost don't enjoy it. Like, my family often remind me about all the stuff that you had when we were racing mini bikes and stuff. And a few weeks ago, we're out for a family meal, and I don't think they like realised this. And I was like, when I was 6 years old, I did not ask you to buy a 50 grand motorhome or whatever you spent on a motorhome to go mini bike racing. I'd have gone in the car. Like, I didn't care about any of that. So it's as much, like you say, it's as much as the parents want to do it as much as well. And you're under serious pressure, like all of this stuff to. Now it's no longer a hobby and you're not enjoying riding motorbikes. I think there's so much of that. I kind of hate to see it, like you said. It's not nice.
Nah, I just sort of want to just, I don't know what you could, but you can't to tell them. And I know some people watching won't like it, but it is the truth. You know, it is it's harsh reality of motorbike racing, isn't it? It's tougher than what people think.
Whereas your dad's got a great attitude towards it. He's like, go do it, and I'll help you once you've proven almost you want to.
Oh no, my dad doesn't get the little violin out, but he doesn't have the money. He goes racing himself. Go get a job, got a job, and go racing. I've got good friends around us. My dad only goes racing when he's racing, and I love that attitude. He's not breathing down my neck. Nothing. I'm very, very lucky like that. But what's very interesting is to hear that side of it. It's like my dad's a TT racer, not at James's level, but it's when you think your kid's coming up and you have kids, and it's just like, Jesus, that is such a difficult dynamic that I would never want to be in your shoes with. And how do you say no?
You can't really, can you?
Because you want to say no.
I know, but if my mum and dad said no, I didn't tell them. I did all the groundwork, put the entry in, then told them. But like,
is that how you did your first TT?
Yeah. I just showed them the Bike Sport News thing on it. They didn't tell them till it was done, like done deal, and then.
When was your first TT, James?
08.
So can you just talk me through that evening? Right, tonight's the night. The article's printed.
I remember it well because I can't remember. I told my mum, but my dad. My dad didn't live in the house. My dad's house, but he wasn't living there. And he'd come back for a weekend or whatever, and I had Bike Sport News open on the page, folded in half with the heart, like little quarter page thing on the TT Young Guns thing they were doing. And I had it open, and we were chatting, or whatever, and I slid it across the breakfast bar to him, and then he read it. He just sort of looked down, read it, and then that's sort of how I told him. Really, I don't think I could.
What was his initial reaction? Like, who were you more scared of? Your mum or your dad?
My dad, probably, but I don't.
Not in the physical, more upsetting.
Yeah, I wouldn't have ever expected him to go mental, but I think it was funny because he sort of just hummed a bit, and then. And then here we are, but in that case, I don't like if any of my children ever went and did all the groundwork and got off their arse and made it happen, I could never say you're not doing it, because I'd just rather them do other stuff, maybe.
No, I think that's a very healthy approach to it. But when it comes to date, like that's like get a print out. Imagine you get like I could just see your kids sliding over a bit of paper, if that's what I think it is. Yeah, I'm gonna break it off. That's mental. That is mental.
So you did your first TT in 2008, and what did you ride? Did you ride like every class, or just?
No, just 600. That's all I wanted to kind of just go learn. Focus on. For me, it was like I kind of tried to convince myself it was just going to be a try it and see if I like it, but I think I knew deep down it was a long game, and I thought.
Yeah. What was your first experience to go to the TT? Like, what was your first time there to go, I want to do this?
97, my dad took me, so it's sort of his fault, I suppose, actually.
That's the book they are.
Yeah. So and I remember we were watching the exact garden halfway down Braille on the right, and the travelling marshal come through on the VFR 750 they were back then, 97, and I was like, whoa, and then dad was like, that's the travelling marshal. I think it must happen to a lot of people even now, when they go TT for the first time. And then Joey, and obviously McAllen, and that year McAllen fell off he was on a motorcycle City 250 at Quarry Bends. And we were in the paddock and he walked past us, all his leathers were ripped up and that. He must have obviously got a lift back and walked back, and I remember being in awe, like. And Joey there's a picture, me and my sister sent it me recently. My sister had come with me and my dad, and my dad took a picture of me and my sister getting Joey's done signature. I had a HRC hat which I've lost. I can't find it, which breaks me. But
your sister's got it.
It was like he had the 250 on the side doing the clutch. He'd be out the back of an old Merc van, and it was just planted seeds. I was just like in awe of these guys, and frightened me, but also planted a big seed. And so I still do sort of pinch myself while I'm there. Even when I get, like next week, I get off the boat for the Classic, and it does always still feel quite surreal.
Wait, here's a question. You know, you did British, you did the R6 Cup, and you saw everything going in a progressive manner. Because a lot of people on this show over the years, and I think every interview is the same, people use road racing to boost their short circuit careers. You know, people have tried that route, and it hasn't always worked. It has succeeded for some people, and some people hasn't. For you, was it a very much?
Just changed my vision, really. You know,
Yeah.
For me, and growing up, I mean, I was riding my bike on the road before I was old enough, but like, I just liked riding motorbikes fast. Yeah, you know, I just liked riding fast on the road, and I had an RD50 that was absolutely flat chat everywhere. Not that it was particularly fast, but you know, there was certain corners that were just flat out, and that drove me and gave me a buzz. And then I had a CG 125. This was before I started racing a Aprilia Challenge, so I was sort of
right.
You know, I used to get a real buzz for even when I was racing. I had a TZR 250 road bike, and that was flat chat everywhere. I just enjoyed riding fast on the road, and I think like. With the TT course, there's a lot of short circuit guys say, well, I would never do that. I could not do it. And I think generally, like that for me, like that sort of thing, and back especially historically, like back in the 50s and 60s, that was, you know, motorcycles were, for me, that's what motorbikes were made for: riding courses, riding roads like that, with bumps, and you know, like the British bikes back then, they even earlier, you know, that's how they developed, and the motorcycle industry grew, was from the Isle of Man TT, wasn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
It accelerated the whole generations of models and development.
The Japanese
evolution.
after the war came over and developed the bike, the Honda there, and then exactly.
Yeah, and it just kind of, so they, you know, and it was World Championship then, wasn't it? You know, so it's evolved to what it is now. But I think people, short circuit racers who say they don't want to ride around there, they're either their egos. I don't want to sound like an arsehole, but I feel like maybe their ego's a bit too big, because they don't want to go there and not win, or be, you know, because they can't excuse themselves and be, because that's one I want to mention on actually here is Brooksy, because he has a lot of like expectation or pressure, I suppose, to go from a top. But Hickey's a little bit different, but Brooksy to come from Australia and World Championships to British Championship, and the profile he has to then go to TT and race it, you know, he lives for motorcycles, you know, and that's kind of probably where I'm going. That
is a perfect example of that, though, because he was at the top of his game, and he went, I still want to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But because there's a lot of guys that could do it but don't need to, so they don't. But I think secretly they want to, but they don't want to do it and not do well or crash, you know. So, but for me, it's like
because we do get a lot of like honest answers. Like a lot of people, I just don't want to do it. And you think that's fair enough, isn't it? But like you say, there's a lot of people hiding. Like, I'll do that.
I think they say it, but they like. How could you not want to ride? If you'll enjoy riding motorbikes, how can you not want to ride a motorbike around there across the mountain, even just the mountain section? Like,
but we're biased, you know what I mean? But you've been over.
I can't believe if you are in any way inclined to love motorcycles, love riding, whatever, go and stand at the side of that road and walk away and not wanting to ride around there. There's something wrong with you.
Yeah, like I mean, there's sections where I particularly don't want to watch because it probably would do the opposite and put me off. But like,
really,
but yeah, but generally, but an open course. If there were, not even in a race scenario, like if that road was closed one way and someone put you on a bike, you and just
you'd ride it. You would go, wouldn't you?
Man, it would be. It's just heaven, isn't it? Like that is bliss. Like that is.
It is, isn't it?
What you live, you know, for what I live for. It's what drives me and motivates me in life. But that's for what motorcycles are made for. Not doing a 45 second lap round Brands Hatch Indy. You know, that's like getting dizzy around there. It's
different.
Or Knock Hill is what's that even short lap? Is it there 40 second lap? that doesn't account to me. That's why one of the reasons I missed Knock Hill this year, because I was like, I'm not driving 10 hours up there to get dizzy around, and
Do you ride bikes on the road, James?
not really, no, not now, because I get a fix elsewhere. But I ride off road quite a bit, and not recently, but I lost my best friend when we were 18 on the road by a 250. He had a Honda NSR and a car pulled down him, and that put me off. And I've ridden bikes recently, like I say recently, within the last couple of years, and there's a problem in that it always starts very well and reserved and ends like
Very silly.
Yeah, and I get home and I'm like that, and I'm like, what? Why did you like just? I can't control myself. It is bad. The voices. They're like, come on, and then just gets silly. So I try and I got a C90 and I've just recently got a CT 125 there. So I'm like capped. They do like 60 mile an hour. So I'm sort of
But they
limited.
do 60 everywhere.
Yeah, well, I try, but I'm limited. So, but riding. Yeah, I don't ride fast bikes on the road. I try not to, because it's not, it's silly to do that when I can go and ride the TT,
I tell you what, we talked about it outside, and I think this is kind of swerving off, but in the same subject. And you hurt my feelings, I'm not going to lie. You're out there and you said, you winning the TT in the lightweight doesn't really count. What a crock of shite. And I tell you what, every listener will be going, how does that not count? Like, I would love to hear your perspective of that.
Well, I'd probably reword that. I'd say, but if you could choose a TT to win, what would it be?
100% the senior.
Yeah. If you had to choose a TT that you didn't, the bottom of the list would be the lightweight race, right?
But
it's a win. I know it's a win. Yeah, and there was less. It wasn't a full grid because the big boys weren't. There was a few people in it, but still, what I probably mean more is it's not the TT1 win I want. It's a win, but it's not like and I don't want to sound ungrateful, because I can't actually believe I did it, to be honest, still now. But I don't even know where the trophy. I think the trophy's in Bournemouth Kawasaki still, actually. But it
You see, you're very much a man who looks at the next chapter. That's what I get off you. I don't know you that well, you know what I mean? I know off you, but you always, even the first interview we did with you, I got the same feeling. It's like, you're like, I've done that.
Next, yeah, what's next? Yeah.
What's next? and it's dead interesting to get that mindset across to people, because my next part of this little interview is, how do you go from your eyes lighting up, talking to us about the TT, going, that is just heaven, that is the ultimate, to going racing in the desert on an off-road bike?
I want to talk to you about the Dakar.
How was that like the next chapter for you? Talk us through that.
It's a bit like the TT, obviously not like the TT, but in a goal or a box I always wanted to tick from a young age. Like, I remember watching TT for the first time, and I remember watching Dakar on a dodgy satellite dish from my dad when I was small. And
you're talking nicked, or you're talking like bad signal?
I've never actually asked him, but we had a Sky dish in the garden, and I don't think we'd have been paying. I can't imagine we'd have been paying full whack for Sky back then. We didn't have them. We weren't. We didn't.
Allegedly, again. Allegedly.
Yeah.
Plugged into the neighbour's satellite.
I've never actually asked him if it was a dodgy or not. But anyway, we had Eurosport, and I remember watching Dakar on there, and I was like, wow. And it just plants a seed, doesn't it? And Dakar is the toughest off-road race in the world,
Easy. Well, without getting morbid on it, but there's there's a lot of fatalities.
And dangerous. Yeah, it's dangerous.
Was it, well, to be blunt, the EU, we've had TTs, unfortunately, where we've had 6 and more. The Dakar, what are the numbers?
I think this year only. I think it sounds disrespectful not knowing, but you kind of switch off from it. But it's quite often big lives are lost there in bikes and cars, and even a spectator got squashed this year. And what I've sort of said to people is, it's a lot less. There's less chance of dying at Dakar, but there's more chance of getting seriously hurt. Because you're doing 70, 80 mile an hour, and the terrain can change like in an instant, or a big drop. So if you're off the ball for a split second, you could be quite quickly be going up in that ambulance and dragged off to hospital, because it's big, and I come across a big crash this year, stage 10. early on, like two guys, Paul Neff, an American, and an Italian guy, who he was a TT fan because he'd spoke to me weirdly just two days before. I can't remember his name, but he had black and yellow kit, and anyway, they'd gone off together, and a couple of kilometres in, a dune had dropped in, and they'd literally just launched and into the face of the next dune, stopped dead, and the Italian was pelvis, and they were a mess. They didn't know where they were. One was like had blood coming out his mouth and was just like staring into space. I was like, holy shit, like. Pressing, you got the like phone systems, like sat phones on your bike to call a helicopter, and I was like speaking to some woman in Paris who's trying to call the helicopter in to get help, and then I ran up to put a helmet at the top of the dune so no one else come over again, and it was like bad. Yeah.
Was it like a briefing to do that? Because you actually had to qualify to do the Dakar. That was one of your biggest challenge. But
we had another cost as well. Yeah.
Were you trained to do? Like, you know what I mean? Is it like,
you have to do I had to do a health like a first aid course to a degree to be in case you are first on the scene, to recovery position and all that stuff. Yeah. So not that that all goes out the window though. Like, but first thing I thought, well, I don't want to get squashed if someone rips over this dune because you're blind. We were down behind a dune, so I just legged it up, put a helmet at the top, and then I called the helicopters in, and then I was with me and Gareth, the guy I was riding with, and then someone else stopped. I can't remember who, but it just really brought it home. I wouldn't say I wish it happened early in the rally, but I'm kind of glad it happened because it put everything in perspective. I was like, you've got to respect the desert, like you respect the TT. You have to respect the desert there.
But the biggest difference with the TT is you've got marshals pointing, going the road turns
flags,
that way. But how does it like? I don't know a lot about the Dakar. I don't know much to be fair, mate. But like the Dakar, the navigation system. Mm-hmm. It's not. Is it digital? Is it analog? Is it? How does?
It's a paper road book on a scroll, so you can roll it as you ride with a toggle switch on the bar. It's pretty old school, like a Shakespeare script almost, on a thing, and it rolls around as you go. And if you mess up, then you can roll back a bit. But there's a knack even to like rolling that in and feeding the paper roll into. You get it 20 minutes before your stage starts. So,
I was wondering that.
So first day I was like trying to get it in, rip the fucking thing, and I was like, fuck, like the guys who do it loads. There's a knack to it, I got pretty quick at it at the end, and you can kind of cheat. There's a few hacks to it. The little IKEA, them little half swastika Allen keys,
Right.
Could I say that?
Of course you can.
Yeah. That's what I've always referred to them as. So it's got like a little
shape anyway.
and you could wind them on pretty quick. But that first day, I ripped it, and I was trying to like highlight the speed zones. So like before, you get coloured sections where you go into a speed restriction zone, and I always mark the note before that with some highlighters, so I know there's a speed zone coming up. From previous rallies, I would often just flat out, and you see the numbers, but you don't see the colours because you're like reading so quick. So I would always note it, so I knew that there was a speed zone coming. Yeah. But by the end, I was just like, just get it in, because I sort of probably lost a bit of interest. I just wanted to get the road book in and go, take my time reading it a bit more. Just as it went on. I had a lot of practice. So
because how long's the event?
15 days. Yeah.
15 days. Now that's in January.
Yeah.
Because bearing in mind, for the BSB paddock, right, and the Rhodes paddock, you brought Dakar to everyone, because I would never I watched the Dakar and went right into the channel. Wasn't my scene. Didn't Revis plant any seeds? Nothing. But because you were involved in it, you're like, what the? And at night, it was getting like. You tell us through. Was it like minus? Was it the minus?
I didn't really. That can't have been because we never had frost, but it was just cold, But it was quite nice sometimes having a bit of cold air to kind of. The rain was bad this year. It was wet, Like
this is in the desert, by the way.
Yeah. Expect.
Have you done it twice?
Once, once. Yeah, but they're like you expect to go there and get be hot all the time.
Yeah.
I had thermals on all bar like 3 days. I had underlayers on thermals.
Even during the day.
Yeah, in the stage. I'd when I was warm, I'd maybe unzip my jacket a bit, but generally, it's hot, cold. You're like.
That's bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird. You would never assume it. And heated vests. Kai taught me out these battery heated vests and gloves to I didn't wear them in the stage, but for the liaisons, which is that's probably one of the hardest bits is the liaison. So in the rally, in the Dakar, you start from, say, we're in Thruxton Paddock now, we'd ride on the road to, say, probably Brands Hatch or further, Donington Park, or 150 miles more sometimes, like on the road to the start of the stage, and then do 350. One of the days was like 450k stage off-road, and then you'd ride on the road then to the next bivouac across to just Saudi. Obviously, as a country, you'd just
What, in kilometres or miles? How long was that?
The longest day was 913 kilometres total. So it was like a 300 liaison, 300 stage, and then a 300 liaison after the stage back to the next bivouac.
And another part of the Dakar is the fact that any mechanical problems you have to fix that.
In the class I was in, yeah.
And how many classes? But out in the bikes, how many classes are there?
2 really. Well, it's like the Rally GP. They're the big boys that are pros, the Sam Sunderlands, and they're like full factory. No, they're full factory. They're like
have a truck following them.
They're a bit like here, they have the tyre men
and the OMG lads and stuff.
Yeah. They're like they just get off the bike, hand it over, and then get changed, eat food, go to sleep. And there's other riders. There's then Rally 2 where there's other supported riders, so they get back and hand over to their more like privateer teams, so they'd have mechanics to sort the bike. And then in the class I was in, which is old school name is Malay Moto, or it's now branded the original by Motul. So that is, you arrive at the bivouac, the paddock, and you into the area we have, which was, they lay the paddocks out pretty much the same all the time, so you know roughly where you're going. And then you got a red box with your tools in and a few spares, a red bit of carpet and a stand, and you just find that in this area for we had, and put the bike on the mat, get off the bike, put your tent up, get changed, service the bike, have dinner, go to bed, wake up, put your tent away, get kit on, get on the bike, go again. Just
when you're getting up in the mornings, do you have to be ready for a certain time and stuff? It's the time to go. It's not like just chill and then do the distance.
No, they don't wait for you. You get start time. So depending on you finish from the previous day, you get start time, and that'll allow you enough time in the dark to get to be at the start of the stage for sunrise. So you set it off. I think the earliest my alarm maybe was 3 something a.m. So
with how much sleep?
Probably 3 or 4 hours. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then you're over riding blind dunes and everything like that.
You were on a proper purpose-built Dakar bike, weren't you? Because I worked at the bike shop when your bike got delivered.
Oh, really?
I worked at that shop, yeah. Because we had done it the year before. The shop supplied a guy called Richard Main with the bike to do it. And he, very similar crash to what you've just explained there, was just cruising and then went over a dune, and it was like a 90-foot drop, landed and broke his pelvis and all. But then I remember your bike getting delivered. I wasn't there when you collected it, but I remember it getting delivered.
That was the deciding factor, because the plan originally was to go with OMG.
Yeah, because that's
how I did all the qualifying races with OMG, and then they'd put the initial entry in for Dakar, but budget changed something out of. I mean, Alan, he's a good guy, and he said, look, we can't do it this year. And I was like, well, what about if I went on my own? Could I try and do it? It was a bit of a stupid idea I had originally. I thought, I just asked the question, and then he said yeah, and I was like, all right. Shit. So where the bike was due in, I phoned James there and did a finance proposal on the bike, because it's like £28,000.
Yeah, that's cheap.
28 grand for it.
Yeah, I put,
and that's a 450 single, is it?
Yes, yeah,
right,
full on thing with all the big tanks, everything.
They're pretty much ready to go. Of it's all carbon and all
Oh yeah, no,
it's a lot of bike really for the
it's proper race bike, proper race bike.
And put £3,000 out. Well, anyway, he phoned back, and basically that I was like, for some reason I didn't think I'd get the finance on it. I don't know why. Anyway, he phoned back, and he was like, yeah, all good. And I was like, shit, this is it. I've just got to go. I was like,
how much was your missus involved in this?
Well, I spoke to her about it, and
after
the Bike Sport News.
Yeah. No, he just dropped the finance proposal on the table and says, "Oops,
Christmas is cancelled, kids.
Yeah.
Daddy's off to Dakar."
It was. To be fair, she supported me in it. She was like, I'm lucky. I say I'm lucky. We're she's a good wife, and we're in a good place, and it was almost like a team effort, you know. Because obviously, there was a lot of time when I was preparing that I couldn't do certain things with the kids or the house, and she like backed me up to make that happen. And it was, but it's where, you know, so that's how we are. But so that was it was like £570 a month or something finance, like. And I was like, well, I'm in now, I've got the bike. And then I was like, I thought I did not have the money to finish the rest of it. So I thought I phoned a few sort of sponsors I currently had, and then potential new ones, and had some great people come in to help. And but initially, genuinely, like, I thought, if I can't get the money, I'm just going to have to borrow the money off the bank to make this. This could be a once in a lifetime chance to go and do it. So,
because you already did the qualifying. How much Sorry, Josh.
No.
How many qualifying sessions did you have to do?
2 races.
2 races.
Yeah, so I did Andalusia in Spain and Abu Dhabi, which is only there. It's like a mini Dakar. It's a lot less riding.
When you think, if you had to do this all yourself, that financial input to do that from
wouldn't have happened. Yeah, like without Alan and OG, I'd never have made it there. So it was, you know, it still is surreal now. You know, I actually genuinely you could almost convince me that I didn't actually do it, because I find it hard to believe that I actually made it there. I look back at pictures and think, wow, you know, like that was
insane. Yeah,
it was so surreal, to make it.
Because yet again, everything happens on the pre-chat before you get in the show. But it's like people just assume like, oh, he's a professional rider, he rides for that, everything's sorted. But like, you were very open and honest from the word go, and like Ugly and Co were jumping in, like you say, sponsors were jumping in. It was like you were needing the support, and people.
Yeah. And it's still, you know, genuinely, it still cost me quite a lot of money to get there. It wasn't like it was all covered and made money out of it. That was a severe struggle, but all the people that chipped in to help make it happen drove me to get to the end. You know, there were so many times where I was like, you know, if it was closer to home and didn't cost so much money, genuinely I'd have tapped out, I reckon. But because because it takes you so to a dark place. Like I was finished, like empty, no sense of humour, I just, you know, there's some fucking annoying, I'm sure he's South African guy. I was like trying to do the bike in the evening, and he's coming around with filming me and like, so how do you get on today? And I'm just like,
fuck off.
Just like go away. Like I couldn't say that to him, but in my head I was just like, oh man, just please leave me alone. I just want to get this done, eat my dinner, and go to bed. Like, And they don't get it, some people. And this, it was. But looking back, it's quite funny. But at the time, I was not in the mood for like talking to people.
It's more than just the bike riding the bike, isn't it? Like emotionally and like mentally, I can imagine it just being. I love the thing. I don't think I'd ever do it, but I love the prospect of it.
I bet. Did that make the TT easier after doing?
Yeah. Genuinely 6 laps this year. I was just like, I wasn't like that was easy, but I was like, I could have gone more. I wanted to keep going. You know, it was like the mental over the time distance was just like
it was actually short for you.
Yeah, because like Dakar was. I can't remember the longest day was there. Probably over 12 hours actually. I reckon longest. But you almost learn to, you know, channel. You've really. Mind control is amazing. Like I learned so much about myself, and like sometimes now my alarm goes off in the morning, I'm like, oh, I'm tired, and I'm like, no, you're not tired. That's like, this is like pretend tired. Yeah, because I know what real tired feels like doing that bloody race for 2 weeks, because that was tired, and that's to the point where we finished the race, finished the last stage, did the little ride on thing, got a medal, and it was all like, wow, and I was like buzzing, and then started sorting my bags out on this tarmac paddock area to load up to come home, because we were flying back that night, and I just fell asleep on the tarmac. Just 2 hours gone, like I was just exhausted. Empty, sheer just empty,
And right, you'll skate past us as quick as he can, and it was actually a dirty little secret in OMG, but it was like you won a seriously prestigious award and then you got that award given by, correct me if I'm wrong, the Prince of Dubai.
Something mad, yeah.
Like, explain, yeah.
Yeah, well, that was stage 5. I'd
sorry, how many stages? Is it 12 or is it?
It's 14 stages of 15 days, I think. Yeah,
right.
And a prologue. So
each
stage 5, a stupid crash, and not burst my collarbone. I didn't even know you could dislocate your collarbone. I thought I'd broken it because I picked the bike up and finished the stage like 100 k's with it like clunking in my thing, and I was riding.
Mate, no, it's not even like, you know when you see like a little crack in a collarbone. This thing was dropped out.
It's still out now. There.
Like, you'll have to give Grace this photo. You'll have to give Grace the photo.
Now you point that out, I can see that. It's making me feel a bit queasy.
Oh no, but like I'm very lucky that I got to see the photo. Sorry for seeing it, but it was like, and you continued to do this.
I finished that day, and I finished that stage. It was 100k to the end. I thought it was over. I thought that was Dakar done. And Jenny, I was riding along. When you break a bone, you feel sick, don't you? That sickness feeling you get. And I was crying, like just riding along in tears. People were just riding past me, and I was just like, just get to the finish, like finish the stage. Got to the finish, and the doctor, like literally, I think someone even took my bike from the finish line back up onto the road for me. And then I see the doctor, and it just hit me, and I was like in pieces at the end because I thought the rally was over, you know. And they did too, because that's why I got that award of sportsmanship, a big freaking thing. It'd be a few quid down the old
presented by the King of Dubai or something like that. Like,
but it was funny because they were speaking in French as they do on the big. Every evening you get a riders briefing, but they do a presentation of that, and they said blah blah blah, sportsmanship award to. This is all in French because his Dakar's finished or something, but he managed to finish the stage along these lines. I didn't know because it was in French, but they didn't tell me till the end of the rally, and gave me this award. And then the next morning, there I was back on the start line. Like, they thought I was out, you know. But so I think they might have kept the award. If they knew that I was going to do that, they might have kept the award. I think they did because they felt a bit sorry for me, you know, because I was in bits. But another funny story with that. So when I finished that stage, I actually took the ambulance from the end of the stage. It was just over 100k back to the bivouac. I went in the ambulance, which was a mistake because if I'd ridden all that way on sand, I could have ridden the last bit on tarmac. You know, I should have done, but I genuinely thought I was out. I thought it was broken, and I went in the ambulance. So they recovered the bike, and so I went to bed. They said, look, the bike's not going to be back till late, so you might as well go to bed and sort it out in the morning, because really I should have serviced it and done the oil and whatever. But I woke up in the morning, got all my kit on, like took ages to even get out of bed because I couldn't I was like one arm, like
it's not a break, it's dislocation. It's literally removed. That is pain.
I didn't even know you could do that.
That's what I mean.
And sleeping on the floor in a tent. It wasn't like I was like lying on my back in a nice bed. I had to like get up off the floor and then get some of the other guys in the class were helping me get my jacket on and that, and then walked out and my bike wasn't there. Like I could not, my bike wasn't anywhere. Like, and I was like, shit, it's not even. They haven't even brought it back from the last stage. Like, and then I was like, shit, I put an Apple tracker on it, an Apple, you know,
an AirTag,
and I was like, because I wanted to watch it, follow its journey to Saudi from where I dropped it in France. I thought at least I can see where the bike is and that, and I was like, fuck. So I like turned my phone on and I was like, it said it's near, but it couldn't pick it up. And I was running around all these trucks trying to find my bike. Like, and it's still dark. The bikes are setting off. The clock's nearly, you know, I was like, fucking hell.
As the organised, because what's a disabled man doing?
I want to ride and I can't find my bike. And then I was thinking, have they hidden it? Do they not want me to ride? Like, and then there's some big curtain-sided Arctic trailer. One of the guys from the Mali class jumps in and he wakes this matey up who's in a camp bed in the back, wakes him up. They get the bike out and help me. We quickly change the filter and bang, fuel station, fill up. There's like a fuel tank thing in the paddock, and then to the start line, like, and then that was it. Once I'd ridden like half that first day, I was like, I can finish. Like, it was slow and steady, but I thought I could
you knew like you could do it.
Like, there was times where it got better it wasn't the best rehab, but the more I used it, the better it kind of got.
Did they put it back in for you?
No,
it's still out. It's still
out. Yeah, they just taped it with this banding tape stuff and give me some drugs, like, and that was it. But there was times in them first few days where I'd like, if I saw a bumpy section, I would honestly, I'd grip my knees, take my arm off, and I'd be like, like, and then get back on again when it smoothed out, and then reaccelerate, like, because it just was then it turned into a thing of just getting to the finish. It wasn't about going fast. And I buddied up with a guy, Gareth Jones, who we with a few messages and that, but we just created this mad bond there. Like doing that together, where the finish was just mental. Like you go through so much, you don't even talk that much, but because he started behind me that day, and I walked back to him at the beginning. I said, "Look, he's from UK but lives in Canada now," and I said, "Gareth, I said I can't really pick this bike up by myself." I said, "If you see me on the floor, could you give me a hand to just pick it up, please?" And he was like, "Yeah, buddy, no worries." Like
that's class.
And that was it.
Class.
We finished the whole. That was from stage 5 to the end. We rode every stage together and finished it together. Like it was real, like cool, you know, because he was in a bad way as well. Like mentally, he wasn't really, and he was pretty anxious of it all because it is again danger. He had kids, and he was like, you know, I think my attitude was a little bit different from coming from TT racing. It was less of a a bit less of an issue for me, less daunting, I suppose.
That's what I mean. You know, the respect element to it. Was it quite? Did you treat as much respect going into that first round?
Yeah, just because I just knew like you could really badly hurt yourself. Really badly hurt yourself if you get it wrong. Like I hurt myself with a stupid small crash, you know. And you in the first day within 30k, I rode past a bike the rider was probably 50 meters away from the bike in this dry riverbed, and he was sat there holding his wrist like done, you know, like, and there was another bike stopped with him, and I thought it's just started, and he's like, that's as far as he's got. His Dakar's over already. Like, so just
scary, isn't it?
Can cut so quickly, be cut off, finish. You know, it's so as I said earlier, I can't quite believe that I actually made it to the
resilience of you is phenomenal. You know, to like just go right,
just to finish just powered out.
I can't remember his name, and that's going to haunt us. I've been reading a book about the guy who swam all around Great Britain. What's his name? Do you know?
Not Edgley, Ross Edgley.
Ross Edgley. Yeah. Reading it. Oh yeah, like salt tongue, and he was literally throwing
it. He's a beast. Yeah.
Like you just think.
I'd like to have a beer with it. If he even drinks beer, probably, well, he could have a protein shake or something, and I'll have a beer. But he'd have some, and he's got something special in him, I think. Yeah.
But then, what makes that different to you? I bet he'd be sitting there. No, you know what I mean. Though it's the fact of going. Well, hold on, you're riding a motorcycle. In his mind, he's probably, I'm just swimming. If you know what I mean, you're just right. That would be a great interview. That. Just sit on the side, these two just sitting across and going, well, I'm harder than you, son. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't want to fight him. He's a unit.
He was ex-military and stuff like that.
And he swam all the way. I don't know the story of this guy. Swam around the UK.
The whole of the UK, but he was going to do it in like the Caribbean or something like that.
He's just tried to do the record in Italy. He got to like 72 hours or something, and then there was the heat wave, and it's finished him. Yeah, but he's a monster.
He is a monster. But like at the top of like Scotland, like 2 meter swells and stuff like that, and he swam right for a whole day with a jellyfish still attached to him. No, I kid you not. He literally swam through, didn't he? Like swam through, right?
Mind over matter, yeah.
Like, and just went, oh bloody hell! I've got a jellyfish on us, and he's still swimming. And obviously, he got to the point. He says, "I'll just keep going." His time was up. Pull him on the board, and the jellyfish was still on him.
Jesus Christ!
He went blind. The pain, like he actually went blind from the stinging.
And that's not like a monetary thing. He's not driven by money for that, is it? It's just it's a push himself.
Because he's ex-military, his wing command, like his commander or something like that. It just sounds a bit shit. That he can't. Well, what do you mean? He can't. Well, why don't you do around England and make it hard for yourself? And he went, okay. Yeah, actually, that's probably a good shout. Like, you know, take it home to Britain. Take it like instead of swimming off the beautiful coast of Italy for hours on end and that.
So you see about that mind over matter thing then. So do you hold the finish in the Dakar in higher regard to winning that lightweight TT?
Nice question.
Do you think?
That was 10. Like I can't even tell you how many multiplied times that would be harder than the. I mean, obviously the risk factor in the TT is different, but like. The satisfaction of getting to the end of Dakar was more than winning the lightweight TT. Really? Maybe a senior TT might be a bit different, but like,
That's a hard.
It's not that I never did Dakar to sort of hold my chest out and walk around saying I did Dakar. It was like a satisfaction me thing that I can.
You wanted to do it.
You know, I just wanted to do it and get to the finish because it's like I don't know. I think I just need to be motivated all the time to do stuff and push myself to. That's the problem now in doing that hardest one. I've not left myself a lot else to go up at. You can't really go up.
That was my next question. Is there anything else you want to do?
I tell you what though, but the only. What's interesting is like the Dakar element was solely against you, and you immediately talked about the lightweight. Going, oh well, the top lads were in it. There were top lads in it, by the way, but you immediately saw that as you weren't against the best at that point. Now, at the senior, would you want to win a senior with everyone else breaking down?
No, well, not really.
No, like, say Hickman broke
Well,
down,
you take
for
it.
example.
You take it, but
Of course you'd bloody take
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. You want like a Foggy and Izzy type battle where you come out on top, don't you? Where the best are still going and you're taking them on and finish on top, and then just get almightily drunk and party and friggin' that would be like heaven. Yeah.
Have you read any of Guy Martin's books? Have you read any? I'm just reading one of. He's got about 5. One of them at the minute described he does that Tour Divide bicycle race. He missed the TT one year. I can't remember what year it was.
It's mad long, isn't it? In America or Canada.
It's like 2,700 miles, and you sleep rough. It's like a Dakar but on push bikes.
Yeah, that does absolutely nothing for me.
It just sounds savage.
But then he probably wouldn't do the Dakar, because me and Chris were very lucky that we got to interview Guy and he was talking about that push bike ride, and it was just like, would you?
Yeah, he does some serious stuff to just like. But when you, why I mentioned that was when you hear him talk, it's very similar to what you were just saying there. Like he's totally undriven by the money element of that. There's no money. It cost him thousands of pounds to go and do it. Like probably not the same as a Dakar, but and then he does all these other bike races and stuff. And the way he talks about it, it's like all he cares about is beating himself, and it's actually very inspiring to listen to. It's very good.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different, aren't they? I know some people like grade there or sort of gauge themselves on how much the watch is worth on the wrist, or that's their satisfaction and choice in life is to however they buy it, whatever car they have on finance or whatever, to that's their kind of, that's how they make themselves feel good. But for like that Dakar for me is like that's
that just makes you a bad bastard, you know what I mean? It's like there's that you did it one arm, the Dakar, you know what I mean? It's like people walking into your local bar going, don't go near him, I swear to God, he'll chew your face off, he's proper hard, that lad. But like it is
impressive, very impressive.
What's okay, senior, of course it is, of course you want to win TTs, we know that part of you. What's next then? You've done the Dakar, we're talking about what's next, you know what I mean? You've done this, what's next? You've done that.
I do.
Obviously, you got the house, the family. That's a big challenge.
That's a big bit at the minute. It does appeal to me. Like ride. I'd love to ride a motorcycle not around the world, like physically, but I'd love to travel on a motorcycle.
You did that thing on the C90, didn't you?
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
So that was that Land's End to.
Yeah.
John O'Groats or something.
We started at the top, John O'Groats to Land's End. Yeah, we did it. I've done it twice. Done it in 2 days. And then that wasn't stupid enough, so then we did it in 1 day. 17 hours, 6 minutes it was.
But you wouldn't have to worry about the average speed cameras all the way up from John O'Groats anyway on a C90.
We did about 3 hours behind slipstream in a megabus on the M6, and like it was fun. But one of the good things with that,
man,
and we're still sort of it was just old school mates, and it like when you have kids and like work and you move away a little bit and you sort of lose your mates from school a bit, and this was 4 of us from school, and we set up a WhatsApp group, took the piss out of each other, made this plan to go and do this ride, and then 2 of them were in the van behind with the trailer on that dropped us off up there, and then me and Jacko on riding the bikes. We had Cardo intercom, so they were in the van, but it was just we were just chatting for 17 hours, chatting shit, taking the piss, and it was suffering for it wasn't easy. It was bloody tough,
I can imagine,
tiring, but it just brought us back together, took us back to our youth a little bit. We raised $5,000, I think, for Calm, like a suicide prevention charity that was really good, and it just again that purpose thing. I couldn't, like at the moment I've got the house driving on and this, I'm quite motivated here, the British Championship, but like when that stops, I don't know, then maybe the kid thing will come in and that'll become my motivation to whatever they want to go into, but I don't know. But I couldn't just sit at home with no purpose.
Yeah.
You said about riding a bike on a big trip, like a long way around, down, up. They did all 4, didn't they? That sort of thing. Yeah,
like Saudi, obviously, is not somewhere you particularly rush off to on holiday, but like we did a lot of miles there and saw some friggin' like just really opened your eyes on the world. There's I haven't seen anywhere near enough of it, and it's life goes quick, doesn't it? To you don't realise how quick that clock's ticking, and until you sort of start looking back and thinking, shit, was that actually that long ago? Or, I'm 38, which isn't actually I feel like I am getting old, although some people say it's not old, but it like, I'm not, won't be far off the downward slope of my, you just got to get stuff done and see stuff and do stuff, I suppose.
You mentioned there about being motivated about the British Championship stuff. I was like really interested before coming here just to see what you think of that, because you've almost like been and done the British Championship thing, haven't you? Super Sport, Super Stock, Superbike, then all the road racing stuff as well. You've had a bit of time away, and then I know you're doing the stock class, but the level of that and Superbike is ridiculous at the minute as well. Like, how are you finding the whole?
Yeah, I'd say I sort of got it out of my system a bit. I think 2012 was my last sort of season here, and I jumped in and out a bit for a bit of bike time for TT prep, and I lost interest to it. Didn't even want it. I'd always watch timing or see the results, but I was not interested in being here because I'd just rather do other stuff, go on my enduro bike or something. But it recently this year it's motivated. I think that whole awareness of just the clock's ticking. I thought, when I am too old to do it, I'm going to wish I did it when I could.
Going to wish you hadn't.
And this season, the last few rounds especially, I've started like getting them butterflies and nerves. I used to come in, honestly, obviously heart rate would go up a bit on the bike, but I in the pits before a session or something, I was just flat. I was like not at all excited, I was just like, go out, do the session, try as hard as I can, and see where I end up, whatever. But now I'm getting that like fire back, and it's cool. I'm actually genuinely enjoying being here racing, and the teams. I'm having a good time, with my mechanics and the team, and when we finish here, we're going at the pub for a few pints quick, and just enjoyment, enjoying ourselves, and that's why we race bikes, isn't it? Really, at the end of the day, for fun. You wouldn't do it if it just made you miserable and you're having a rubbish time.
But was like part of one of your big decision makers? Obviously, Alan signed you for the TT, and like to push forward in the roads, both at the Northwest and everything else. But you coming back to here, was it a vision for you to use that as a tool to get faster for the TT? Was that the sole reason of coming back?
I think just bike time. Yeah, to be out on the bike pushing, and I think you can only look at Dunlop. Maybe not so much. He doesn't ride loads, but
you say that. You say that this year he's done Open Park, both Super Sport, Superbike, and then he's done a bit of stock. And even during COVID, he was still doing like wildcards and frequent at that.
He's a bit of an enigma, isn't he?
There's always that bit of illusion that I just pull out my van and go.
But he's nowhere near the top bike time Dean and Peter getting. It's not.
I agree with that. Totally agree with that. But he's still not sitting around doing sweet effort. No, he's in the right paddock, isn't he?
Yeah. So, and it didn't do him too bad this year, did it? He was on fire. So,
do you think it helped you this year? Do you think it was in it? Did you notice the difference?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did feel good on the bike. But I kind of argue that myself, because in 15 I had my best ever TT, and I did nearly no riding that year.
Yeah,
I literally just did a Bruce Anstey and and I thought, well, how could I do that? And I did 132 something, and I'd done no riding. I was just in a good place with the team. The bike was good, and it just worked. I think it's whatever works with your head to be in the right place when you head off.
And that would have been Bournemouth as well, because you had a long relationship with them lads.
Yeah.
And then it was from Bournemouth you went to OMG, but because Bournemouth stopped going, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you didn't go, right, I'm off, and Bournemouth collapsed. It was Bournemouth decided to take a step back.
I know. I sort of said, I just wanted to try. I just wanted, again, the age thing. I thought I'm not getting any younger. I don't want to get to a point in my career where I wish I'd have tried something different.
Yeah.
So that was the change over to OMG, and then Pete Extens at Bournemouth had done a deal with John to take John on the Kawasaki, but
yes, of course he did. Yeah,
but then all COVID kicked off. Cancelled for 2 years. Then obviously things changed, and John got his deal back with Honda, and Pete's never come back. Pete Extens was here today, and he's still into it, but it's once it's in your blood, isn't it? Once it's there, it's hard to get away.
Because when COVID kicked, before COVID happened, with the TT regards, you signed to get on a BMW.
Yeah.
Hickman, Dunlop, everyone won BMs, and you must have just thought, we're on a good bike here, good package. COVID,
Whose BMWs was it?
OMG, so he was.
Yes, of course. Yeah,
so it was the BMW element, but then COVID, came and went in that regard. And then it went Yamaha. How confident were you?
It's a bit unknown TT wise, but the short circuit stuff, they were dominating, weren't they? So I was like, it's clearly a good bike, and they are, they're still fairly dominant now, aren't they? With if you asked, obviously you couldn't really because it's contractually, no one can say truly what they think, especially here at Thruxton. It's a favoured bike, isn't it? The Yamaha and tyre life and corner speed and
but that unknown element, you know what I mean?
I sort of appealed to me a little bit because it was a challenge. I thought, and in the first year we couldn't ride the stock bikes. We just got, in my opinion, we got a bit shafted, but with the rules, I won't go into it now. But
because of the front wheel speed sensing, Alan spent all that money getting the bike there, and then they pulled them off the grid saying, well, you're not allowed to have them, and then certain bikes were. It was a political shitstorm, but basically, spent a lot of money getting to the event. After agreeing all the rules, everything was signed, everything was fine, got on the island, went, oh, you're not allowed to run that now. Would you not be pissed off? Of course you would be. But since that, come back the following year, and now you are now the fastest Yamaha team ever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but there's not many Yamahas done it recently.
Oh, see what I mean? See what I mean? Shut up, man.
One of the best sounding bikes there for sure.
They do sound good. But
overheard at the start of the season, we were in a garage next to you and overheard you chatting to someone saying about wanting the bike to be so loud because your stock bike at Silverstone was really loud. You had a small can. I didn't never understood the reason for that, but is that to scare things out the way? Is that what you were saying about it?
We changed it from the Acura system because I got big feet and it's just clumsy. The Superbike system, it runs differently to the stock system, so it didn't intrude with my feet on the Superbike, but the Super Stock, it was just getting in the way. So I just Kyle's dad actually made all that exhaust system for it, and it makes it sound even better. I think. It's sometimes too loud when you're on it. Weirdly, when you're on it, it's not that loud.
Right. So it's not a thing for the TT then. Is that a myth?
No. Well, TT is no noise limit at TT.
Yeah, do what you want at the TT.
Yeah, I think the more noise, that's what it's about, isn't it? The old MV Augustas.
There's not a reason.
The more noise, the better. There, that's what people want: the speed, the noise, and smells. And that's what makes TT. So.
Okay.
Absolutely love it. I tell you what, I'm actually looking at a little bit at the clock here, and I'm just thinking I would love to talk about, let's talk about today. Let's talk about Thruxton. How are you getting on? Now, am I correct in saying one of your personal sponsors built the retard? He's IMS, is that right?
Oh, Steve
Caffin.
Yes,
He's actually part of the team who
tarmacking. Yeah, so I don't know what corners they done, but he owns the bike I'm riding at Classic TT, that 500. Yeah.
Yes.
And I've ridden for him 10 years or more over there, actually. And
because are you on a Classic Superbike as well?
Not yet, no.
Not yet?
No.
Oh, no. Like that. There's
I got shafted. I was supposed to be on a 916, but... Maybe,
the Oxford bike?
Well, no, it wasn't that. It was something tied in with that, but Dean's on one, but... it was all supposed to be happening, and...
Because that was like...
Tested it, and then got ditched, so I think he realised how much it was going to cost, and...
Because was it 19? You on the white? You had white levers, blue. It looked
very
the twin pipes. You get on the podium on that?
Yeah, 24.9 did last lap. So I didn't think the thing was going to do one lap, let alone 4. So they wouldn't have done another one anyway. That's for sure. After the race, it was absolutely in bits. Yeah, the glass was broken, and he's retired that now. Stafford, who owns that bike, so I sort of parked away. I think he still can't believe we did that because we never expected to get on the podium, But Michael. It sounds bad laughing, but he broke down, and I did giggle a little bit. It sounds terrible, but he was on one of them big bloody Suzuki Bandit things. What are they? Probably pissed someone off calling it that anyway. But anyway, I don't care because we got on the podium and Derek Shields, who won it? I can't remember who won. Oh, Davo won.
Johnson won.
I just hung on to him and bit the screen on that thing, and I was riding around going, what are you doing? Why am I riding this hard on this old thing for nothing? No prize money there, nothing. Nothing to just
for fun,
just to get a bit of champagne on the podium. Yeah, and anyway, so that was a good. I enjoyed that. I it's good.
So I tell you what would your dream bike be to race around there then?
Classic?
No, in general.
Pick anything.
Both a classic and your dream bike.
classic. I'd like to ride 250, probably 2-stroke, maybe. I don't know, if maybe even a 500 2-stroke, just so they got a bit
Bruce,
more going.
Bruce Anstey still has the lap record on that
27 he did on that.
See a 250 be beautiful around
He
there.
did 27.5 or something on there.
Bruce still has that lap record.
He come past me in practice twice. He come past me in the race because his exhaust broke, so he had a longer pit stop. And I was like, and that thing, you don't hear it till it's there. And I remember shitting myself because it was just like, wow, like, and I was like, fuck it.
He is a phenomenon, Bruce, isn't he? I'd love to interview. I would like. I can't imagine. He's just so
chilled.
He just appreciates the air he breathes. You know what I mean? He's that kind of guy. You know, he's like you. You've got a lot of similarities. He's like, there's no ego about him enough that you just like, I've got my wife, got my dog, and I'm fast as the devil's arse himself. It just
when he wants to be. Yeah.
But then how does he? You know, we talk about on the show a lot, like sports psychology, training, like coming to BSB. You need this to get that track time and do that, and then you go back to that old school of like Bruce Anstey's 2015 James Hillier. Every day of his life, he just gets on a bike and goes and bangs out a 32, comes in, twice cancer survivor. You know what I mean? It just he's
special
just,
man. And he doesn't get the commendament he's due really. With he so not I wouldn't say he's underrated. He's just off the radar, and I think he likes that way. But I have a lot of respect for him, and I think some people would piss at him a bit, or he could have been John. Yeah, not that he probably.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like the mentality element. John, like
so naturally talented, and when he. And I don't even know if he often would know how he did it. He'd just go, yeah, right, and just go and do it. And then
it's actually borderline annoying, that, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Like Tony Bow. Have you seen Tony Bow on Instagram when you watch it? I struggle to watch him.
I've seen him on an Africa Twin doing stuff that I couldn't do on a push bike, never mind a trials bike.
I'm close to unfollowing him because it makes me uncomfortable. The way he
close to unfollowing him.
Breaks me when he just makes it. I respect people who are good at doing stuff, but when people are so good at something and they make it look so easy.
Billy Bolt for me.
Billy, yeah.
But I'm not following him. He's one of the funniest people on the planet, and he's a local lad to us.
You have to get him on, or you had him on?
Oh, I've had him on twice.
Have you?
We'll have to get him on again soon, mind. He is an animal, that boy.
He's wild, yeah.
He is absolutely wild. I'll tell you what, like I say, we're doing a bit of clock watching on this side. Right. If you want to get your phone up, we've got the Patreon elements. But here we go. Terry Nichols, are you planning on doing the Dakar again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not well. I will say by the time this goes out, my video will be out anyway. So, but if I've done a YouTube video recently on the plan or the potential plan at the minute. So, have a look at my James Hillier Racing YouTube channel.
Fantastic.
And that will go a bit more in depth. But so the plan is to not 24, but it's like a drug. I've got someone's just given me a new drug that I need to feed. It's just an expensive drug that takes a lot of preparation. So,
and speaking on that though, are you doing the support pack? You need the support packages again. Is that the plan?
But something like that. I'd rather, something like that. I need to go in to sort of plan it properly. But I'll do something because I did the name on the bike, name people's names on the bike and stuff, which was good. That got a good response.
Because people want to help doing that. You know what I mean? If anyone could be a part of that journey, be a small or large, small or large.
Yeah.
People want to be a part of that.
It was good to and all that, as I said earlier, all them little people that helped, the big people that helped, drove me to the. That's what made me finish really. So. And
really, the best way to access that for you is on Facebook, Instagram, just social elements.
Just keep an eye on our YouTube channel. Probably will be where I'm trying to push that a bit now.
Yeah, spot on. So just please log into that. People listen to this. That's the way to get under that side.
And also, if anyone hasn't watched it, there's a whole Dakar Diary series on there from.
I'm going to watch that. I haven't seen that, but just you mentioning it.
It was frustrating because it could have been a lot better than it was. But the last thing I wanted to do in the evening was pick a camera up and start talking about how great my day's been when really it'd been
shit,
a struggle, and I just wanted to go to bed. And I'm trying to So, but you get a bit of a gist of it. So if anyone's interested to watch, that's quite a good thing to have a look at.
Happy days. Go on, you got a question there, Josh?
This is a good one. I can't believe we've not actually talked about this, but the question is from Terry, and it's everyone knows about that tank slapper, but it'd be good to know from you, how long was the thought process and were you straight back on it after you straightened her up?
Yeah, and funny one with that. Genuinely, when it happened, I was like, that's probably one to forget, to learn from, but forget. but it's been impossible because it gets brought up all the time, and genuinely, like, and you'll know, like,
it's ITV4's fault, I think, that they played it everywhere, didn't they?
I was incredibly lucky to be racing there that year, and I remember walking by your pit garage. I wasn't even in a pit garage, and I just saw you sat there going, and people, I could just see him sitting there going, trying to explain what just happened, and I'm like going, that man has had the shit scared out of it. You know, you could just see it. That was.
I lost a bit of interest after that. That was last race. Yeah, but it was we know what went wrong, but genuinely, like, it happened so quick. By the time I'd processed it, I was still on the bike and still going. So I was like, well, my genuine first thought was Hutchie's going to catch me, like, because I was 4, he was 5, and in the superbike race before that, it was me and him were battling, and I got a bit shafted with pit stop. But I wanted to make a point. I wanted to win that race, and it didn't happen. But yeah, it was. I don't know, maybe not religious, but maybe someone was helped me out a little bit there. And yeah, lucky boy that day. Yeah.
Here's a cracking question from Travis McClurg. I probably said that wrong. I'm sorry, Travis, but what's the coolest, strangest thing you've seen while riding in the desert? I like that. That's a
just off. I can't think of anything else particularly right now, but there was some little shitbag throwing stones at us, like in the middle of nowhere. He was parked up in a Land Cruiser. Some little dude looked like Mowgli and off Jungle Book, long hair, and I thought he had a GoPro. I thought he was all like erratic, and like I thought he was like, I thought, oh, he's keen. I thought he had a camera, and I got closer and he had a big rock, and he was like, we were like going to this like point and then turning. I could see where all the other vehicles had turned. And I got closer to him, and he was like, "Huck this!" He didn't hit me, but threw a stone at me. The little shit. Didn't it? Like,
you didn't kick him then?
No, well, I did. I just tried to roost him a bit, but like it was in the sand. But it was a random. Last thing I was expecting to. Just off the top of my head, anyway, in the desert, you saw a few dead camels and
weird things, yeah.
And it's funny, some of like it's a bit like you get people come out to watch the locals go out into the desert and watching these dunes and that, and they all make these little fires and drink their tea and that, and then there'll be a few of the climbs. They'll all be in their full, I don't know what you call them, their full robe, like black,
like a Berg,
white suits, and and all dressed like traditional Saudi clothing and. Loving life. They're like mad for it, and I'd purposely I'd like charge at them, like go, wah, like loads of noise, and they'd be going like there's no way to go, and then I'd just go like just turn off the last minute just for like a bit of entertainment.
That's why the kid was there with a rock later on.
Payback.
To try to get him. I love it. He's a really random one. This is going to be an inside joke from Nick H. As a Bournemouth area guy, I want to know if you've ever went Slinky.
Oh yeah, so that was a nightclub, I think.
And if so, how much do you remember?
Slinky.
Well, go on, Josh.
It's a bit of a blur, but I don't know if that was a downstairs one, like down some stairs, and I can't remember. But it rings a bell. But I think it might be the old like opera house type place. I can't remember, but I would say I've been there. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we've got a few from like Mike Orton. We've gone through that.
Have you kind of answered? Yeah, the other question I thought was quite interesting from Jess Mortimer was just around fastest Yamaha rider at the TT. So even though you're the fastest, do you think that the bike's missing anything in comparison to other manufacturers like the BM and the Honda and so on?
I'd say I can't. It's a bit of a, maybe a few ponies. Genuine, like just speaking honestly, like as I try to normally do, and I potentially would like to try. It's on Motec at the minute, but I'd like to try the kit.
They buy EC stuff?
Yeah, just to make riding a little bit easier sometimes for perhaps wheelie control and stuff like that, because it was all on thumb brake. It was quite raw, which I think there's a bit to say with the super stock bike, like Hickey obviously doing the time he did on his stock bike. The super bikes are fast, but I think for like ease, it's all about making the bike easy to ride, or as easy as you can to ride, isn't it? So I think a few aids, like maybe a bit of wheelie, could, if it was set right, could be a benefit maybe.
Yeah.
But chassis, that Yamaha was like across the mountain was so nice, like it was probably one of the best spots I've ever ran there, just in terms of like fun factor, and because there's nothing worse than trying to wrestle a bike through them fast turns across the mountain, like veranda, and it was nice. I genuinely enjoyed enjoyed riding them this year. Just could have gone with going a little bit faster.
That's always the same.
You reach it's hard. Isn't
Did
it?
you run Bitubo at the TT?
Yeah.
Are you a fan of it? Because it's
yeah.
quite. It's not obviously not a new product in MotoGP.
No.
You know what I mean? It's
Dunlop won there on it in 18.
On the
on the
Suzuki.
Hawk bike guy.
Yeah.
Good.
BMW.
I rate it. I highly rate it.
Really?
They're good guys. The guys we've got working here, they're like. It's the way it is, isn't it? Here, everyone goes bloody golden yellow or black and yellow, and they make.
There's always a psychological battle in racing. It's like, what are you running? What are you running? What are you running? They're going quicker. They're doing this.
Yeah.
I think that's the support as well, and you're actually getting some support on you. That's the difference. Like, people do overrun Olan's or K-Tech just because there's a presence for them, really.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you kind of need that. So it's good that you've got those guys there.
I think, I mean, it's speaking for itself. Ryan and Kyle are both on it here, and it's going good. And a few other people, someone's running it in stock, I think, going good. It's, just because there's two main players doesn't mean there can't be another third.
Another product, yeah.
Oh, it's like I know a few lads at the TT that went the Bitubo stuff, and they like
shock-wise, the support was good.
Absolutely love it. But I tell you what, I'm really conscious about this, and sorry to all our listeners. I'm just noticing the time, and this lad's getting a bit of hunger on him. But we've got to do a bit of housekeeping before we go on that side of things. Unless you've got more questions, Josh. I've got
a million questions, but
got one more.
I don't want to keep this man from his dinner.
But while I'm reading this one, go on, squeeze one more in.
No,
the pressure's on. I put the pressure on the spot there. I love it. Absolutely love it. Right, so from Bennett said, sorry, I haven't actually read this bit, so just bear with us. Competitions to win VIP experiences for the remaining rounds of the season are now live to Bennett's customers and Bike Social members. Then chance to win pillion laps, safety laps, grid walks, VIP hospitality, and everything else. Just click on and just become a Bennett's customer. That's simple.
Have you seen some of the stuff that Bennett have been doing? So this week, obviously, we're at Thruxton. I don't know if we mentioned that or not yet, but we're at Thruxton, and Bennett's have got. So this is all part of this competition as well. So that you can win.
They sponsor the
series,
and Grace works for Bennett's.
Okay.
So it's like, you got to keep it going. You got to keep it going, keep it in the house.
I did ask them to help me at Dakar, but they didn't. So
he's like, we're not talking about them now. Sorry.
Well, I just thought, come on, please.
So part of
the will now.
They do some great competitions, and there's actually some of our patrons are here this weekend. They've got some of the passes and stuff, do pillion laps and whatnot. But the coolest thing I think they do is they've got a pit perch down at church, where you as a spectator you actually can't get down there.
Wow.
It's like the fastest corner in the country.
Yeah, wow.
And you see on the super bikes and stuff, they're spinning up.
Just give them a wave when you go by.
We walked the track last night, and I said that is if you're marshalling here, that's the place to be.
Yeah. So they're there,
wow, yeah, that's good.
Right on the inside of the track, I believe it is as well. It looks really good. I've seen some videos of it earlier on. Looks mint. So
absolutely class.
Get involved in that, and you can win this chance.
100%. And obviously, thanks to our patrons, Colchester Kawasaki, they've been with us a long time, and we wouldn't be able to go from there. On a personal note, I got kind of a little bit of a telling off that I don't mention my sponsors. So I love you all. You're absolutely amazing. I wouldn't be here without you. It's that simple. And obviously, Belgrave, put me on the F900 to be a part of this championship. I've never been to Thruxton, didn't do Snetton 300, never done Brands, and I'm learning a lot, and it's class. So
what have you thought of Thruxton?
Mint. I just want to come here on a big bike now. I'm desperate to come here on a big bike. But you got specialist tyres for here, when you're sitting there as a couch potato drinking Guinness going, yeah, what are you on about tyre wear? My first opening lap, didn't even pedal a lap, went out there and I went, I can see why these lads knack tyres. It's just so holding it open. You're like,
have you got to run the DECD tyre as well? Yeah.
Edge grip's not good, but I quite like the fact that everyone's on the same level playing field.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Well, that's the other side of it. And Thruxton, you can only come here. You can't test here. You have to do BSB to come do this event. You think that's actually a massive level.
You've got to be pretty on the ball. Some people are chased initial lap times on good tyres, but you've got to be able to do the times and be strong at the end of the race. And that's where
smash it. Proper tyre war, this place. So but yet again, James, thank you so much for coming back on the show. It's great to actually see you down.
Do it again another 3 years, see what's been happening.
Definitely. No, it's great to have you in Chrissy's studio, you know what I mean? We did it over Skype last time, so to actually see your eyes light up and talking about the TT and Dakar and everything is just absolutely
good to be here, and good to see it going as it is. I listen, with Hopper, and I listened to McGuinness is one, Brooksy, and Top Rack was good, wasn't it? Top Rack Sarah in here.
That was him a away, wasn't
Yeah.
it? It was
He's
fantastic.
a nice guy, and he's so nice.
100%. And he's one of them scary people you want to block for his bike skills. Totally, you're just like, I don't want to look at that. Don't want to look at that. But no, but seriously, that it wouldn't be going about Grace. Wouldn't be going out with the co-hosts. Just absolutely fantastic.
Good on you.
So thank you so much.
Thank
and
you.
Yeah, thanks,
class,
James.
thank
Cheers,
you so much.
thank you.
See you in a bit.
Chasin the Racin, powered by Colchester Kawasaki, part of the Global Moto Group. We supply new Aprilia, Moto Guzzi, Vespa, Royal Enfield, Kawasaki, Sim, Mutt and Benelli motorcycles.